the story that shaped Bhishma. Long before Bhishma walked the earth, his soul belonged to the heavens, one of the 8 celestial Vasus. These divine beings were attendants of Indra, enjoying eternal bliss until one fateful incident changed everything. One day, they visited Earth and came across Sage Vashishta's ashram. There, they saw his divine cow Nandini, gifted by Lord Brahma. Prabhasa, the youngest of the Vasus, was persuaded by his wife to steal the cow for her. Though the other Vasus helped him, Sage Vashishta saw through their act and cursed them all. "You shall be born as mortals on earth," declared the sage. The Vasus pleaded for mercy. Vashishta softened the curse, but only a little. 7 of them would be freed quickly after birth. But Prabhasa, the main culprit, would live a long and painful mortal life. They sought refuge in goddess Ganga, who agreed to bear them as her children and liberate them, except for Prabhasa, who would suffer the full weight of karma. Thus began the journey of the soul that would be known as Bhishma. Goddess Ganga descended to earth and married King Shantanu, the ruler of Hastinapur. She agreed to marry him on one strange condition: he must never question her actions. To Shantanu's shock, Ganga began drowning each newborn son in the river right after birth. He was heartbroken, but stayed silent, bound by his promise. When the 8th son was born and she approached the river again, he could no longer bear it and stopped her. Ganga revealed the truth. The sons were the Vasus she promised to liberate. But this 8th child, Prabhasa, was the cursed one. Since Shantanu had broken his vow, she left him, taking the child away to raise him in secrecy and divine training. Years later, Shantanu saw a young warrior performing a miraculous feat, building a dam of arrows that halted the mighty Ganga. That boy was none other than Devavrata, his long-lost son, raised and trained by Ganga herself. She returned him to Shantanu, saying he had completed his divine education under Brihaspati and Parashurama. Devavrata's wisdom, strength, and sense of duty amazed the court. He was crowned the Yuvraj, heir apparent of Hastinapur, but fate would test him again. Shantanu later fell in love with Satyavati, a fisherwoman. Her father agreed to the marriage only if her sons would be heirs to the throne. Shantanu refused, as Devavrata was already declared heir, and he silently walked away, heartbroken. Devavrata noticed his father's sadness and learned the truth. To fulfill his father's wishes, he made an unimaginable sacrifice. He renounced his right to the throne. But the fisherman was still unsure. What if Devavrata's children claimed the throne? So, Devavrata made a second, deadlier vow: lifelong celibacy. He would never marry, never father children. This vow shook the heavens. The gods blessed him with the name Bhishma, meaning he of the terrible vow. His father granted him the boon of Ichamrityu, the power to choose the moment of his death. Years later, Bhishma went to Kashi to find brides for his half-brother Vichitravirya. He abducted the princesses Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. But Amba, the eldest, had already chosen another, King Shalva. Bhishma allowed her to return, but Shalva rejected her, citing dishonor. When Amba came back to Bhishma, asking him to marry her, he refused due to his vow. Humiliated and enraged, Amba vowed revenge. She performed severe penance, and Lord Shiva granted her a boon. She would be the cause of Bhishma's death in her next life. She was reborn as Shikhandi, raised as a warrior, and was present in the Kurukshetra war. Bhishma, bound by his code not to fight a woman or one who was once a woman, laid down his arms when Shikhandi stood before him, fulfilling Amba's curse. But even in defeat, Bhishma did not fall as a broken man. He fell as a chosen soul, lying on a bed of arrows, waiting for the divine moment to leave his body. For 58 days, he stayed alive by will alone, using that time to share priceless wisdom on dharma, statecraft, and life with Yudhishthira. When the sun began its northward journey, Uttarayan, he finally let go, choosing his death on his own terms. Bhishma's life was a saga of sacrifice, vows, and unshakable duty. Though his path was filled with pain and conflict, his legacy endures, not just as a warrior, but as the moral backbone of an entire epic.